Hello everybody, welcome to the TrueLife News Show today, guys. This is amazing. Emergency powers are about to be executed by our president, and this is insane, guys, because again, Trump is only doing what he needs to do in order to put America first. But what he is doing is huge wins for the Trump administration. Trump is slowly making these changes behind the scenes that he's been doing for a long time. The slow-moving Republicans have literally been stalling Trump with all the judicial coups that have been happening against him. So Trump and Elon Musk are set to execute together, guys, because remember, Elon Musk is still an unofficial advisor to execute more executive emergency powers to make sure that his agenda gets complete. Just like this, Trump came out yesterday and said all the things that he promised he is going to make sure happen. Just like the no tax on Social Security that is not in the big beautiful bill, but Trump says he is going to make it happen. He said promises made, promises kept. He is going to use emergency powers to also get rid of the judicial judges, guys. The impeachments are coming. This is amazing news. We got all the receipts for you, the breaking news across the board. This is huge. And not only that, but Trump is making sure to hold people accountable, guys. All this stuff, we are going to see some justice happen. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. The Senate has just officially set the hearings for the investigations into the Biden administration for the big three, guys. We're talking about the auto pin scandal, the border wall invasion, and we're talking about the USAID slush money. We have linked scandals from the congressman to USAID to NGOs that Elon Musk has found. If this is not winning, I don't know what is, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Such huge news. Check this out. Republican Senators John Cornyn and Eric Schmidt will co-chair the hearings next month to investigate the big three: the auto pin scandal, the USAID slush money, and the border wall invasion. They're all going to hold the Biden administration accountable, and this starts in the Senate. We have it where the big beautiful bill will have, listen to this, guys, this is Trump words himself: no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and the no tax on Social Security for our seniors. Huge wins. Trump says he's going to make this happen. And again, guys, what we're about to get into is the biggest one against these judicial judges. The courts have issued more than 200 orders stopping Donald Trump's actions across 128 cases. Over 250 lawsuits were filed against Trump's executive orders in the first 2 months. 30 universal injunctions were issued, and yet the majority of Congress has done nothing against these activist judges, so Trump is going to execute emergency executive powers to stop them. And not only that, guys, we have more whistleblower evidence that Biden was not in control. We have a whistleblower that came out and said they would find Joe Biden would get lost in the White House. Guys, this is crazy. This is getting big. We got so much breaking news for you today. I want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, to all of our subscribers and viewers. We're truly grateful for your support. If you're not subscribed, please consider clicking that subscribe button, joining our family here. We want to take care of you every day with the top news. We got bombshell news today, guys. Also, want to say thank you to everybody that is a member of the channel, supporting us and our giving every single month. You're going to see this guy giving on the 22nd to a local charity live on stream. And want to say thank you to those that have given super chat donations. Want to thank Donald Little, Michael Hendricks, Elaine Demeen. Guys, show them some love in the chat. Such amazing people giving to these causes, guys. We're doing it together. And if you don't mind doing us a huge favor of hitting that thumbs up like button, it really does help out so much with the channel. We've got some big stuff happening, guys. Emergency powers being executed by Trump for his promises made, promises kept, to kick out the judicial activist judges, to go against the three biggest scandals against the Biden administration: the autopin scandal, the border wall invasion, and the USAID slush money. And also, guys, we have it where no tax on Social Security is coming for our seniors. Huge, amazing news, guys. We're getting into what is happening with these judicial judges. Trump is taking, finally, guys, if the Congress couldn't do it, so he's just doing it himself. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Check this out.
Another day, another slew of legal injunctions by power-drunk district judges designed to cripple the president's agenda. Late last night, the U.S. Court of International Trade delivered a very heavy blow to the president and the fight to protect American jobs, wealth, American security, ruling the president's tariffs are unconstitutional. That Trump exceeded his authority, his legal authority, by introducing tariffs without congressional approval. The president's team quickly appealed last night, and it didn't take long for an appeals court to flip the tariffs back on by about 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Let's
as
go,
the appeals
baby.
court awaits arguments in the case. Prior to the ruling, the White House came out firing earlier this afternoon from the press briefing room.
3 judges of the U.S. Court of International Trade disagreed and brazenly abused their judicial power to usurp the authority of President Trump to stop him from carrying out the mandate that the American people gave him. These judges failed to acknowledge that the President of the United States has core foreign affairs powers and authority given to him by Congress to protect the United States economy and national security. Any questions over whether President Trump improperly imposed these IEEPA tariffs were already adjudicated in Congress following Liberation Day.
Guys, this is why Trump is not playing around. He is issuing more and more and saying, you know what? We're just going to go with the emergency powers for now because we are trying to save America. He did this one thing that you're about to see on screen, guys. Again, all this stuff that's happening, these judges are trying to stop him. But guess what? It came out this morning. Trump's emergency order halts second power plant from closure. They are trying to do every single thing they can to stop him. And he is executing the emergency powers to put America first, guys. These judges, they need to be impeached. And I got more stuff to show you in a moment that a lot of that's already getting started by Trump's cabinet team.
You have it. Now, there are laws granting tariff power to the president, and they perfectly match the reasoning that Trump gave the nation when these tariffs were launched. The Trade Expansion Act of 1962 lets the president impose tariffs if imports threaten national security.
Boom, baby.
Trump has always said tariffs were needed to protect industries like steel in this country. We need to be able to produce our own weapons, bullets, guns as a part of national security. There's one. The Trade Act of 1974 authorizes tariffs in response to unfair foreign trade practices. Think China,
Let's go.
Intellectual property theft. Think non-tariff trade barriers that nearly every country uses to subvert their own free and fair trade deals. The Tariff Act of 1930 allows for tariffs to equalize costs of producing goods in the U.S. versus abroad. So when they start making everything way cheaper everywhere else, and our own manufacturing basis, a lot of our building economy is gutted. A much-needed weapon against China's slave labor, India, Southeast Asia, countries like that.
Guys, is this not beautiful? The power of our president, MAGA, baby. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, guys, this is beautiful because, again, too, Trump has the power. He 100% can execute these emergency powers. But again, it's not just about fixing America for now. It's about exposing what we've been lied to for the past 4 years. Look at this. Senate to hold the hearings on the Biden's decline cover-up. Guys, we got Senator John Cornyn, Eric Schmidt that are going to be co-chairing all these investigations of the autopin scandal, the border wall invasion, and guys, the whole entire USAID slush money fund. So much money has been found going back to sitting Congress people. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do these people need to be fired immediately? Should they be held in contempt? Is this treasonous actions? Because Trump is not playing around anymore. Congress has done nothing to stop these crazy radical leftist judges, so he is stepping in with his emergency powers to make it happen.
That's kind of the emphasis that the White House is putting out there, and that's a lot of the truth. Now, how this court didn't see that, Well, that's an interesting part of the conversation. We're going to have that in here in a bit. But earlier today, the CEO of NVIDIA, which is one of the wealthiest companies in the world right now, reminded Americans that these often vilified tariffs that the president has brought are truly brought by Trump with the best of intentions and have a great goal ahead. Take a listen.
Let's go.
Our president wants America to win. The president laid out a bold vision for the United States, for America to reindustrialize the onshore manufacturing so that we can have a more resilient supply chain, so that we can create jobs locally, very importantly, so that we become great at manufacturing again. This initiative by the president is likely going to set the United States up for a century. For this century to come, this is going to be a very big deal.
Something to hear right there on
MAGA, baby. It's
CNBC.
MAGA.
And that's exactly the point. The three judges on the U.S. International Trade Court probably need to hear that clip. But what's really been proven is just how difficult it is to ever actually change anything in this country. That's what all of these courts are doing right now. Even things that are terribly broken, like our trade deals, there's always something standing in the way of actually fixing it. Everyone in this country has been complaining about China for the past 20 years. Everyone's been complaining about the decimation of the middle class, the working economy, where all the jobs going.
Guys,
here's a plan.
That's why, again, I'm showing you the receipts, guys. Trump came out himself. There is emergency powers that are about to be executed. He talked about last night one big beautiful bill that will keep income taxes at the current rate, deliver no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our seniors, guys. This is what I love. Let me know your thoughts in the comments because, again, too, you just heard it. Congress never can get anything done. There's too many people. There's too much money involved, too much lobbyists. So Trump is stepping in with the emergency powers to get things done. Larry Pickett, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Larry some love in the chat. He said April made me do it. And Tracy Gardner, thank you so much for the super chat. I love it. And y'all welcome Tracy to the family. Let's go. Guys, such good news is coming up because Trump is not a guy to sit around and not let anything happen. He's going to put America first one way or another.
To fix that and to end the economic terrorism of China. And we see Democrats cheering for China, hoping that the Chinese win because they just want to win the next election. The market actually shot up today when that trade court halted Trump's tariffs after they did it last night. Think about that. Easier to allow America to limp on broken than take the short-term pain of actually fixing the country. Wall Street hates the tariffs. Even when they're designed to do something fantastic for the country, nobody wants to take it on the chin for a few minutes while we actually fix some of these endemic problems that we have in this country. The lawfare that Trump has faced on immigration is even more insidious than what we just saw from this trade court. Judges claiming that Trump can't even deport illegals at this point, can't even deport non-citizens who stir up pro-terror psychosis on Ivy League campuses. He can't do anything that he's been mandated to do, according to the judges of this country. For as much as the left screams democracy, they truly are the antithesis to it. All of this is coming from these voices. The last election delivered an outcome that threatens the left's agenda. They refuse to accept that. They clearly hate the majority of this country and what the majority of the people in this country actually want, and they will do anything to stonewall their
Man, guys, let me tell you this. This is so beautiful right now, what I'm about to show you. So Trump is, look, he is one of the most genius guys ever to be as president because he's such a good businessman. The courts have issued more than 200 orders stopping Donald Trump's actions across 128 cases. 250 lawsuits were filed against Trump's executive orders in the first 2 months, and 30 universal injunctions were issued. The Republican majority Congress has removed exactly 0 judges from going against Trump. Now remember, the Congress holds the purse, or so they say. They could defund these federal activist judges and stop all this, but they haven't. So what is happening, guys? They're going to use emergency powers. Listen to this. El Salvador President Nayib Bukele reacts to activist judges overstepping their authority to hamstring Trump and Doge. That's exactly what judges were doing in El Salvador in 2021. So we impeached them all and then proceeded to fix the country. That is what's coming to America, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because this is what I love. We're going to put America first. You got people that have different interests that are not America first interests, and Trump is going to do whatever it takes. You're about to hear it right here, guys, because this is huge.
Let's go to Jerusalem and our own Mike Davis. Mike, the Leonard Leo, you've warned people about this for a while now. President Trump just put a shot across the bow. What is going on, and why is it important, sir?
President Trump is going to build on his biggest accomplishment of his first term and pick even more bold and fearless judges in his second term. And we got a lot of them right in the first term, but the problem is that we didn't get a lot of others right. And so we're going to make damn sure in President Trump's second term that the Article 3 project is going to help President Trump pick even more bold and fearless judges. We have judicial nominees like Amel Bove. You hear the FedSoc types like Ed Whalen wailing about Amel Bove, saying somehow that Amel Bove is not good enough to be a Third Circuit judge based out of New Jersey. I would say this about Amel. He graduated at the top of his class at Georgetown Law School. He was a federal prosecutor in the Southern District of New York, the premier federal district in the country. He was a national security prosecutor. He clerked for a judge on the Second Circuit in New York. He clerked for a judge on the Southern District of New York. He was the acting deputy attorney general, the acting number 2 at the Justice Department, and he was President Trump's lawyer when all these other lawyers at these big fancy law firms would not represent President Trump during the 3 years of unprecedented, unrelenting Republican-ing lawfare against President Trump. It was Amel Bove who was President Trump's defense lawyer. He is
guys, and this is so beautiful, because what is Trump doing? I'm going to go ahead and tell you something, guys. I've heard it leaked out. I'm seeing a lot of evidence on this, but it hasn't been put out in the mainstream. Trump is going to try to replace at least one more Supreme Court judge. And the guy that he's talking about is the guy. When everybody deserted Trump, when all the lawfare came, he was still with them, and he wants him to be serving as a Supreme Court justice, guys. I'm telling you, big moves, amazing wins. Trump is playing chess while everybody's playing checkers. I want to say thank you so much, Tracy Gardner, for the super chat. Let's go. Said, Joel, love your show so much, but I'm not getting your second show for the last week. Subscribe to all the notifications. Help. Hey, Tracy, so we've actually done only one show per day this week because of personal matters, but I thank you so much for your support. Deanna Rankin, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, thank you for reporting of the truth. Pray for our country. Let's go. Y'all show them some love in the chat.
Listen, I got that. Hang on. I got that. And we're getting much more MAGA type judges. I understand that. And the Federal Society had a, and they did help us in 16 by identifying the first chart. And then you got involved. We had the second group, of which Gorsuch came out of, the great Gorsuch. But this is something different. Why is Leonard Leo taking money from that billionaire, the $1 billion he's sitting on, and actually going to and setting up these phony groups and attacking President Trump's policies? And why is you got to go pretty far in the woods on something like this to hit President Trump's tripwire? Would they hit it, brother? Because he put a shotgun blast out there.
Boom.
What is that about?
Yeah.
What implication, and particularly what implication it's going to have? Because we got to get this thing resolved by the 30th of June on the Article 2 powers, Brother Davis.
Yeah, I mean, when you have Leonard Leo taking over $1 billion, I think it was like $1.6 billion from a billionaire who gave him his fortune, Barry Side, and then Leonard sat on the sidelines with all the money for 3 years of lawfare and didn't support groups that were helping President Trump with the lawfare, and actually had guys out there like Ed Whalen, who Leonard funds, undermining President Trump during this lawfare. And Ed Whalen continues to undermine President Trump with Amel Bove and other judicial nominees. I don't know what Leonard's doing. He funded the anti-RFK campaign for HHS secretary. He's fighting against President Trump on tariffs. I think Leonard Leo needs to remember that he was a nobody before President Trump named him as his judge picker in 2016. And then Leonard Leo got very wealthy after that. So, you go from making a couple $100,000 a year at the Federal Society to flying around in private jets and having, $8 million homes in Maine. He got very wealthy from this. You would think that after you've gotten very wealthy off of President Trump, that you can at least give President Trump the loyalty of keeping your mouth shut.
Where's this going to go for? I know you got to bounce, but what should we look for? Where's this going to go from here? Because this is inextricably tied to these issues of the Article 2 powers and this kind of confrontation, where this Jacksonian type of confrontation that because you laid it out very clearly from the beginning, that we're now reaching the at least the first climax stage of by the end of June. What do people should think about in the Leonard Leo and Federal Society part of this, sir?
I think President Trump's going to rely more on the Article 3 project than he is Leonard Leo and the Federal Society. We're already doing that. We've already compiled a list of Supreme Court nominees and shared that list. We're working very closely.
Do you hear this, guys? Oh, I love it. New Supreme Court nominees. Trump wants to make sure to get out all the fake rhinos like Amy Coney Barrett, like guys, all these people. We need America first, not just in the presidency, but in his cabinet, in the Senate, in the Congress, and especially in the Supreme Court. Guys, if you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, we are living in history right now, because what needs to be done to make sure that we find patriotic people that are going to live by the Constitution, put America first, not these illegals, Trump is going to make it happen.
I'm working very closely with President Trump and his chief of staff, Susie Wiles, and his White House counsel, David Warrington, and his deputy counsel for nominations, Steve Kenney, who used to work for me on the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Perfect.
President Trump has learned his lessons from the first term, good and bad. He knows that the people he picks for these key posts, whether in the executive branch at the Justice Department or on these judicial slots, these are critical roles. People are policy in Washington, D.C. President Trump had never run for office in 2016. He had never served in office. He had 4 years in office. He had 4 years in the wilderness. He had 4 years to reflect. He is ready to govern.
But those wilderness years were important to retort. Do you think, I got to bounce, I know you do. Do you think, though, that Leonard Leo is going to start taking out ads in these phony conservative front groups to attack President Trump's assertion of his Article 2 powers, particularly if we get to the point, I know you're not a huge fan of this, but you're getting closer to my side, suspending the writ of habeas corpus and other things that President Trump needs to do as commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and having taken an oath to defend the nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic, sir?
Well, I thought that conservatives, constitutionalists, like the Federal Society types, believed in what the liberals call the unitary executive theory, what we call the Article 2 of the Constitution, where the president and the president alone has the executive power, all executive power under Article 2. And I don't remember a Trump derangement syndrome exception to Article 2. So the American people made their decision. On November 5th, they gave President Trump an overwhelming electoral mandate, 312 electoral votes, all 7 swing states, the popular vote. President Trump was sabotaged during his first term. He's not going to get sabotaged during his second term, not by leftists and not by establishment conservatives. We will make damn sure that doesn't happen at the Article 3
Let's
project.
go,
and
baby.
I'm very happy that after Ed Whalen put out his piece going after Emil Bove, we had 3 Article 3 projects, opinion pieces from me, from Josh Hammer, from Will Chamberlain, out immediately punching back against this. We are going to be in the fight every day for President Trump. We're going to make damn sure he succeeds with the War Room posse.
Let's go, baby, again. Guys, when we bring the receipts of what is happening behind the scenes, Trump's team is making it happen, guys. I love it. Check this out. Just in, Secret Service whistleblower says that Joe Biden would often get lost in his own White House closet in the mornings and struggle to find his way out. Guys, the tales keep coming, and these are not just fictional. These are 100% truth of we did not have a president. Listen to this, because when it comes to this scandal right here, guys, I'm telling you, we are about to see history in the making of true justice coming to America.
I agree. It's being done out in the open. It's being done in the light of day. We're not doing it at the 11th hour here or as we're on our way up to the Capitol to see the next president being sworn in. And I might add, I don't think there's any doubt who's actually signing these pardons. You know, at the end of Biden's term, we had thousands of people that were pardoned or offered some kind of clemency for drug offenses. I have my doubts about whether Joe Biden signed all of those. And there's obviously, because of the new books that are out, clear reporting here that there was something of a Politburo running the White House at the end of the Biden administration when many of the most controversial pardons were issued. So in this case, Donald Trump, I think, is fully owning all of these decisions. And I agree with Ellie. In the Grimm case, if for no other reason than this paralysis that he suffered and the fact that he paid his debt, I think it's a defensible decision.
And in fact, guys, I'm telling you, the pardons, all this stuff that you're about to see next is so massive of a scandal because, again, we have leaked evidence from whistleblowers that Biden is being exploited by a lot of people for the money. But the thing is they were the ones that were helping to cover it up. I want to say thank you so much, Teresa Madden. Welcome to the family, as well as Albert Rodriguez. Welcome to the family. Layla McAnally. Thank you for your continued support. Lay Lewis, thank you so much for the super chat. Said, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if the Dems didn't have a hand in all the drugs that have been coming into the country, maybe letting Kamala try them out. Whoa, let me tell you this. They're doing some crazy, they allowed an invasion in. But what I love is that it's not going anywhere. We are going to catch them, guys, right here. We officially have the news that Republican Senators John Cornyn and Eric Schmidt has officially filed the notions. The hearing dates are set in place. We will have the investigations to bring in Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, Trump administration officials to figure out what actually happened. Y'all show Lay Lewis some love in the chat, as well as what's new for gifting 10 TrueLife News memberships. Let's go. If you got a free membership from What's New, show him some love in the chat, as well as Larry Pickett, some love for the super chat who said, April made me donate again. I love it. Guys, it's so good to see all the giving. Check this out.
Here with reaction, former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich. Look, you're the great historian. You're a former professor and a friend of mine. And to me, this is the biggest presidential White House scandal in history. Now, I'm not letting go of this. I want to know who knew what, when they knew it, and who was in charge. And I want to know more about the auto pen. Am I wrong to care that much about this?
No, I think there are two really different stories. I mean, one is the Biden cover-up story, since clearly sometime maybe by 2023, he was clearly not there anymore. But the other much deeper story is who was actually running the country? Who was making this decision? You know, on one day after the election, he signed 2,400 commutations with an auto pen. Now, who picked those 2,400 people? Who was responsible? You can go through issue after issue.
Right there, guys.
Decision after decision. People were clearly breaking the law. They were clearly abusing power. We have no idea why or how much. This dwarfs any preceding scandal anywhere in American history. I mean, by the time we get done and find out how many people were exploiting Biden, and it's really, he's being exploited. I mean, this is a guy, he's out of it. He's not there anymore. And these people are exploiting him. Well, of course it's elder abuse. If this happened here. Look, if somebody in a nursing home were being as lied about and as covered up as Biden, it would be a crime. I mean, this is a guy who was trotted out and I think humiliated And so, in my mind, one story is the cover-up of Biden, but the second, ultimately bigger story is who was running the government, who was violating the Constitution, who were they related to. They clearly had to know each other. They were clearly colluding. A lot of it, I think, is going to go back to Barack Obama and his staff, which were all through the White House. But billions were being shown.
Guys, I gotta show you, because remember, we bring the receipts on TrueLife News. The Biden auto pen scandal is unraveling. Reports say up to 16 former staffers and cabinet members may be involved. FBI Director Kash Patel just announced a task force to expose the shadow government. Guys, we are unraveling this day by day, but it's getting deeper, that we have been gaslighted, lied to. Somebody needs to be held accountable. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys, because I'm telling you, this is history in the making, that we are going to change America forever because we're exposing all the fraud, the waste, and the abuse. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support. Check this out.
To use the term Secretary of Energy used, they were shoveling billions of dollars out.
Right there.
Who was making these decisions? They were commuting. More people were commuted by Biden after the election than I think in the last 10 presidencies. It's unbelievable. Now, he's not doing any of this. So, and then, of course, you have the media, which is now, I think, in the same free fall as the Democratic Party, as a totally dishonest, totally disreputable institution.
But, in many ways, they paid a price. I mean, I said in 07, journalism's dead. I said after this election, legacy media is dead. Now, think back. They all got the Russia hoax wrong. They never reported on the bought and paid for Hillary Clinton dirty Russian dossier. They never reported on how that dossier, which is totally debunked, was used for 4 FISA warrants, ruined Carter Page's life, a backdoor to spy on Trump and his presidency and his campaign. They never reported on the real valuation of Mar-a-Lago, the double standard rating Mar-a-Lago, but not going after Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden. They had top secret classified documents, not telling the truth.
If that's not one of the most messed up things I've ever seen, guys, is they raided Trump's home, raided all of his drawers, raided all that. And guess what? He got all those documents back because there was no problem with it, of all the classified documents. But when it came to Hillary Clinton and Benghazi, when it came to Biden in the horrible Afghanistan withdrawal, which 13 service members died, no investigations, no nothing. Guys, we are finally seeing justice because Trump said him and his cabinet team will execute emergency powers, since the dang Congress has not stopped one, not even one activist judge from trying to hinder Trump's agenda and policies. Let me know your thoughts in the powers in the comment section, because emergency powers is huge. But we got to make sure that we put America first, and that's what Trump is doing.
About Alvin Bragg and the statute of limitations being up and this novel legal theory, or Letitia James running on, I'm going to get Trump. They never reported on it. Just like they're wrong on Richard Jewell and Duke LaCrosse and UVA and Ferguson, Missouri, and Freddie Gray in Baltimore. They are wrong all the time. How do they get away with it?
Well, they have huge momentum for having been there. NBC, CBS, ABC, these are big institutions. New York Times, Washington Post, they're big institutions. It takes a while to die. But the fact is, I always refer to them now as the... Well, it does. It's a reality. But you're watching them. I'm a historian. You're watching them decay. You're watching them to lose any kind of public belief. And I think what you're going to see happen more and more, people just go to alternative sources. And these news media, they are propaganda media. They are not news media. We should never refer to them as news media.
Ooh. I think you're right. And on the one hand, maybe I should be grateful, especially with the legacy media, because all those issues that I mentioned, we got right and they got wrong. And I'm not looking for a Pulitzer Prize. Right. I'd like to keep doing my job for as long as I can, and I'm grateful to be able to do it every day. But how they could be wrong so often, and I think Americans don't trust them anymore. They threw everything they could at Trump.
Maybe.
Didn't work, did it?
Maybe we should invent an honesty prize.
Yeah, you're right.
Guys, and what I'm about to show you next is so massive because, again, too, it's one thing to report it. It's another thing to actually see that things are happening. So this lady, Jennifer Granholm, she funneled money like crazy out the door after Biden lost the election. Loans to only green energy businesses, $93 billion in 76 days. But it doesn't stop there. We have found out more and more money that was supposed to be used for border security, that was supposed to be used to protect Americans, has been funneled, and we're talking billions of dollars, guys, and now they're talking about it in Congress, and I love it. This is accountability at the highest level. Fred Samuel, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. He said, get ready for the meltdown on the left and everyone being called worse than Hitler again because it is coming. And Scott Charles, thank you so much for the super chat. Guys, y'all show Fred and Scott some love in the chat as well as what's new for gifting those 10 True Life News memberships. Check this out.
Secretary knows, everybody knows that's the end. We're going to try to move on to the next person to get you out of here. We talked a little bit about the wall earlier. The administration has asked for $46.5 billion for the wall. The border on the Mexican border is about 1,950 miles. We've fenced or walled about 700 of it. That leaves about 1,200 miles. There's 200 or 300 miles of it that probably never going to have a fence on. It's mountainous or just impossible to fence or wall. So I would say realistically, you got under 1,000. But let's just say there's 1,000. You really want to wall on 1,000. CBP says it's 6.5 million per mile. Your response today was 12 million per mile. That means $12 billion for 1,000 miles. We're off here by a factor of 3 or 4 with 46 billion. Where's the rest of the 46 billion? The administration says they want 46 billion for a wall. You could pave all of it and still have, 34 billion left over. What's the 34 billion going for?
Yes, Senator, thank you for the question. We do have 702 miles of wall today. 598 of that are steel. The rest of that is temporary that's in place. Since the president's been in office, over 70 miles has been erected. We have 11 contracts that have gone out and allocated. We also have 5 more that are pending. Based on the dollars that have been requested, it's not just the infrastructure that would be built, that would be the actual wall construction. It would be also surveillance equipment.
The number's way off. 1,000. You could do 1,000 miles for 12 billion. You're asking for 46 billion. So I'm one who's not impressed and would have to see more detail as to where the rest of the money goes. We can't just throw $30 billion out there and say things cost a lot.
I agree. We'll get you the specifics on that.
With regard to the drones and all the preparatory work that DHS does and the government does for the NFL and for FIFA, does the NFL pay DHS for the work you do?
Boy, not to my knowledge. I will.
Well, I mean, here's my point. The NFL makes billions of dollars. We're $2 trillion in the hole. I don't care if government shares their technology and government helps out the World Cup. They ought to pay.
Yeah,
people are paying hundreds of dollars for tickets. I mean, thousands of dollars for the NFL, for Super Bowl and things. They're also paying for FIFA. And so these people ought to pay. And so I'm one holding up these authorizations, and I'll let them go forward. But I want people to pay. I mean, it's ridiculous that the average taxpayer who could never afford to go to an NFL Super Bowl has got to pay for their security. Should the government help? If we have technology they don't, perhaps. But they ought to pay. So NFL, FIFA, I think they all ought to pay. And we'll be insisting on trying to put language in that. If you're a for-profit entity and the government's helping you, you ought to pay for it. With regard to TSA Quiet Skies and Tulsi Gabbard situation, I suspect there are going to be other people that were caught up in this thing as well. I'm horrified by the idea that we took a former congresswoman and we're surveilling her and riding on jets with her. There was another story of an air marshal whose wife, might have been at January 6th or something, and now we're, have air marshals following another air marshal or his wife. So I want to hear the whole story of what happened. I want to hear that people have been let go, that they're no longer doing this. If there were abuses of Tulsi Gabbard's liberties, I want to hear from that. But I want repercussions to come from this. And I think you've said something's coming. Please let us know, and let us know how the program the destruction of civil liberties can be minimized. I frankly probably have trouble with the whole program, but let's see if there's some way. But we need significant reform. If it needs legislation, please come to us with that. Thank you for your testimony today.
Thank you.
Guys, again, you hear this. Somebody is calling it out finally because people are getting nervous. What you're about to see, guys, is the 100% receipts and truth. Right now, things are happening like crazy. This is insane what I'm about to tell you. Lindsey Graham is attempting to conduct foreign policy on behalf of the president in Kyiv. He tells China to stop buying Russian oil of the United States and will impose a 500% tariff. Where is Lindsey Graham coming from? He's one of the biggest rhinos that have been there, that have been only on the bandwagon if Trump was winning, but if Trump was losing, he was actually going against him as well. So I want to show you this. The reason that he's trying to come out, support Trump, and actually be MAGA is because of this right here. Graham's record, just 37% of likely GOP primary voters in the state said they would vote for him, while 28% said that they don't know. These rhinos are being exposed. The wasteful spending is being exposed. And now they're trying to save their butts by, we're going to help Trump out and we're going to tell China to stop doing this and all this. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I get tired of people flip-flopping back and forth so much, and I'm ready to see just true patriots, true MAGA, always put America first. It doesn't matter who is in office, put America first. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, guys, thank you so much for your support, because what you're about to see next, again, we have things that are about to take place. The next steps of Doge, the next steps of actually saving Americans money is about to take place, and I love it because we have gotten victory over so much like we've never seen before. Check this out.
Doge did, I don't think, can be underestimated in any way, shape, or form. It's never been done to this extent before. The actions of the people, they were volunteers, starting at the top with Elon. He risked everything he had to do this, even his own life. I mean, there were a lot of very serious threats to his life. The only thing Congress came up with in terms of accepting the $175 billion of cuts that Doge came up with, very convincingly. By the way, I know a lot of Democrats who believe that that was waste and fraud that they were targeting. You only got $9.4 billion cut from the $175 billion recommended by Doge. Isn't that kind of an insult to what these folks did?
I think it is. I think the Doge folks led by Elon Musk have done a phenomenal job. They came in on a mission, and that was to get waste and terrible spending out of the federal government. They gave us plenty of examples. You've already talked about that. I think the key thing now is what's the process going to be like? There's the rescission package you're talking about $9.4 billion. The other side of this is when we go through the appropriations process over the next couple of months on Capitol Hill. So my Republican colleagues and the House leadership, we need to be following the lead of Doge on this. Let's go and look at everything that they've listed. And when we go through annual appropriations, which is going to happen over this summer, let's make sure we don't reauthorize that money going forward. A little bit different from the rescissions package, but we can stop
right now, guys, because remember, I bring the context, I bring the receipts. You can go look it up, fact check me. Right now, USAID is $60 billion that we spend every single year to give to outside of the United States, not internally, outside of the United States, $60 billion. In the new rescission package coming from the White House, only $9 billion is being taken off of USAID for foreign aid spending. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Again, it's insulting to Elon Musk, but what you're hearing is just like what Byron Donalds is saying. There's people rising up. There's true patriots rising up that said, you know what? We are going to clean house and we're going to clean out the rhinos in order to put Americans first.
That money from being spent in the future.
Yeah, but it's a steaming can of garbage for these Dems to try to claim victory that they're the ones who forced out Elon Musk when his exit was planned from all along. Well, what's got me steaming, and I don't even live in Florida. We spoke to you when this was just circulating in the rumor mill. Now it's near official. Congressman, the University of Florida Board of Trustees unanimously selected what some might call the left-wing nut, pro-DEI liberal wacko University of Michigan president, Santa J. Ono, as the University of Florida's next president, despite widespread opposition to his nomination because, well, just look at this glimpse into his beliefs.
In January, we released the results of our DEI 1.0 initiative, which made it clear that while we have made progress, and we have, that we still have much more to do. So as we look to DEI 2.0, let us...
Guys, and again, too, when I'm showing you this stuff right here, this is always a reminder, guys, because again, we have to remember that there are people that are still fighting to stop Trump's agenda. And it is very imperative, just like what you're seeing on the screen, that right now, Trump is working day in, day out. Where's Leader John Thune at? He's taking a vacation. The SAFE Act is still on his desk. All this is being reported that these people that are supposed to be the leaders of the Senate, even Mike Johnson, leader of the House, supposed to be codifying Doge cuts. Well, guess what? They took this past week off, the entire week off of vacation. They literally don't even work in August. And in the next month, listen to this. Go fact check me, guys. We'll show you. Next month, for the month of June, these congressional people are only supposed to work 12 days. In the month of July, they're only supposed to work 13 days. And then they're supposed to take off the entire month of August. This is where, again, you have too many people that are living off Americans' dimes, that are living off our hard-earned tax dollars, and they're not doing anything. And this is where what I love is what I'm about to show you next, is that as we continue to expose every single one of them, guys, we're going to make sure that you see that we're moving forward in such a change. And there is Byron Donalds, there's others that are coming up like Anna Paulina Luna, who I'm about to show you next, that are ready to take on the lead once Trump steps out of office to make America MAGA forever. Check this out.
Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna joins me now. All right, Congressman, Doge is still in service, but Musk is gone. How's that going to work?
Well, Russ Vought, we are hearing, is going to be taking over. As you know, Jesse, he is head of OMB, and I've actually known Russ for years, so he's definitely a financial and fiscal conservative. But I'd also like to say that actually at that press conference, they also had noted that some of the best minds, I would argue that a lot of these people are on the genius spectrum, are actually still in Washington, and Doge will continue. In fact, they're projected to hit under this administration over $1 trillion in savings. And so in addition to the oversight and now the push from the administration to ensure that Congress is doing their job and pushing the president's agenda through, I do believe that we will still see those cuts. But it also means that the American people need to hold their members of Congress accountable to do the right thing. Because as we're saying, Congress does have a spending problem, and there have been people there for decades on both sides that are part of that problem.
So why can't Congress cut spending? Why can't we just go back to the way we had it before COVID?
Well, I would say that many people make that argument, and I agree, Jesse. A lot of people, specifically people in many of these swing districts, are always worried about re-election. And frankly, I think that they're worried about explaining that, to their constituents. But the fact is that we should go back to those pre-COVID spending levels. And ultimately, what we're finding is that you have people like President Trump who have now been given the runway to control the economy. I trust in the process, and I think that the economy is going to boom again. But you always have this, I would say, ideology in Washington that they're constantly worried about this next re-election. I would say that politicians specifically, want the Congress, whether you're in House or Senate, to focus on the president's agenda, codifying what Doge has done, codifying these executive orders, stop posting about it, stop talking about it, and actually do it. And I think that you'll see that there's going to be massive wins in the long run.
How tough is it being in Washington? I mean, when they catch you with drugs, they don't say anything. And then when they don't catch you with drugs, they call you a drug addict. What's that like?
You know, Jesse, you know firsthand when I was first elected, and it's not just me, it's anyone who really stands up against the machine, they're going to try to smear you, right? What happened with Elon Musk, as soon as he came out as a conservative, as a Trump supporter, they really went after his companies. And they also try to go after people that were supporting his companies, right? These innocent Tesla owners. It is hard. And there are people that don't want to put their families through it because of the amount that the family goes through, that you go through personally, and then always you have these crazy people that are trying to kill you. But the fact is that what he has done for this country in regards to Doge, in regards to actually helping from a social media perspective. Remember, Elon purchased X, and I do believe that also single-handedly secured the election for President Trump because he could fight that false narrative.
Yes.
But ultimately, I mean, it's a massive sacrifice. He is part of those men, you know, they have the men that built America, and I do believe, in addition to President Trump, he's one of the men that saved America.
Guys, and again, too, remember, we show you everything. What she just said, there is already our friend Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas over here, who they even found out her old thing where she said she lied about her ethnicity and all this, but she has already come out, guys. This is mind-blowing. Senator Elizabeth Warren appeared to signal investigations into Elon Musk, stating that he isn't off the hook for his chaos and corruption in reference to his departure from Doge. They are already planning, if they win the midterms, the Democrats, to do what? To impeach Trump, to do investigations into his family, to look into Elon Musk, like all this stuff, guys. They're not going to stop. They're not ever going to stop. But this is why, again, it is so important that for the midterms and the next presidential election, we have to win. There is no other choice, so that we can continue the winning, clean out the deep state, and truly save America to get it to where it's supposed to be at. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, guys, this is mind-blowing.
I agree with everything you just said. You mentioned that some of your colleagues are scared. They're scared to stick their necks out. What do you mean by that? They're afraid of getting attacked by the media, by the machine, by the intelligence agencies, what?
Well, I think it's a mix, right? I will use an example. You remember you had me on your show when I was talking about holding Merrick Garland in inherent contempt because he was protecting Biden's cognitive decline and did not want to release those tapes. There were actually 4 members of Congress that were getting calls from Merrick Garland that were being told not to take that vote, and they ultimately protected Merrick Garland. Whatever reasoning they had behind that, I would argue that if you have the Attorney General calling you, it's basically saying if you don't play ball, you're going to basically face consequences. But it's not just that. They're also people in swing districts that are facing tough re-elections, and so they're worried that if they do the right thing, that they won't get reelected. And I would say to those people that if you do the right thing at the end of the day when you're standing before God, that you will have served your job well, you will have served the American people well, and you will have a clean conscience. And so I tell those people, don't be afraid, you'll be rewarded in the long run.
Good. I love that perspective. I guess when the AG calls you and tells you to do something, it's kind of a threat. Maybe they have something on you. Yeah, I guess you don't know.
Maybe.
But we need less people like that. They're going to fold so easily. Anna Paulina Luna, have a great week.
Guys,
Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna.
Let me show you this, guys, right here, because again, too, Trump won this huge Supreme Court ruling over deporting all these Haitians, Nicaragua, Cubans, and things like that. He posted and said, let the deportations begin. Do you see why? I want to show you why he posted this image. Because the Biden administration used your taxpayer dollars to fly them in. He didn't get approval from Congress, didn't ask for any more budget. That's why our budget keeps growing, is because these deep staters continue to spend our hard-earned taxpayer dollars to import voters. So our boy Stephen Miller, I love this guy so much. He's one of the pit bulls in Trump's team. Listen to what he has to say about what's happening next after the Supreme Court ruling.
The program that the gentleman's referring to is CHNV, Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela. But more specifically, it's the program, this is a very important point because this context is often missing. It's the program that was launched by the Biden administration to fly illegal aliens into the country by aircraft. So when you hear about migrant flights, when you hear about illegal aliens being flown into the country, there were other programs too. They had a flying program they had a free transportation program for hundreds of thousands of illegals at the border that was run out of DHS and funded by FEMA. They had a separate program for UAC, unaccompanied alien children. But when you think about the mostly when people are talking about the migrant flights, they're talking about this program, the fly-ins for these illegal aliens. About 500,000 illegal aliens from those 4 countries, particularly in the last 2 years of the Biden administration, were flown directly into American cities and towns. So, of course, we revoked those. They called it parole for those individuals, amnesty basically. And now, of course, they're all subject to deportation from the United States. And of course, self-evidently, of course, they have to be deported. You can't have a situation where the Biden administration can fly in 500,000 illegal aliens in the last 24 months, and we're having a conversation about, oh, maybe they should get to stay for life. They've been here for 24 months. They were flown into our country illegally. And the good news is the airplanes travel in 2 directions.
I love that, guys. Airplanes travel in 2 directions. Trump is ready again, because remember, it's not just about bringing in the people. They were importing the voters. And that's where I love too that we get to hear firsthand, guys. We've had so much transparency with this administration from Trump and the rest of his cabinet team that it's been such a blessing, because it's one thing, whenever we had Biden, we never heard from him. Now we're hearing from the actual people that are executing the actual Trump agenda. Patrick Trebet, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Patrick some love in the chat. My favorite GIF. I love it. Listen to this.
So, how does it feel? I mean, you got here so far, so fast. I don't think anybody fully appreciates that. 4 years ago, at this moment, you were a regular guy.
Yeah, I was just a guy in the private sector, and here I am, Vice President of the United States. Well, first, it's obviously a testament to the country, the opportunities that you get here. But, you know, man, I just pinch myself every single day. I walk into the Oval Office. We get to do great work with the President of the United States. And I just realize what a blessing it is to be able to do the job that I get to do. And it's very cool. I mean, for the whole family. I mean, pretty much my whole crew has been to the Oval Office. They've all met the president. My kids are kind of constantly coming and going, and we have all these amazing photos of the kids, walking down the West Wing, colonnade where the president walks with world leaders. We have, we've been able to go to Camp David with the kids. It's just such an amazing experience, and I just try to relish it and try to do as good of a job as I can.
Not since Nixon have we seen this kind of rise, though, and you're faster than he. When you were in Europe, it just seemed like you were born for the role. It came so easy to you. And I guess, I know this sounds corny or whatever, but when did you realize you could operate at that level? Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I just try not to think about it too much. I mean, the way that I think about it is, this is a job. It's a very important job, but it's a job, and I just try to do as good of a job as I can. And I think if you sort of stop and think, oh my God, I'm in the Oval Office with the President of the United States, and we're making world historic decisions, I think sometimes you get too wrapped up in it. You just got to do as good of a job as you can, focus on the tasks in front of you, and that's how I've approached everything. It's certainly how I approach this one.
One other thing on this, you're the Vice President of the United States. We know what the Constitution says, but if you were to describe your job, a job title in the civilian world, like, are you the operations manager, a CEO to President Trump's chairman? Like, what is this job most like, if any job, in the civilian world?
That's interesting. I'd actually love to hear the president give an answer to that question. What is my job title? The way that I think about it is, the president is the chief executive, but he needs an extra set of eyes, an extra set of hands, because there's a lot to do. And I'm the guy that he trusts to go and do it. And that's what I try to accomplish is, the president, maybe he has to meet with a world leader, but you need somebody on Capitol Hill talking to congressional leaders or people in the Senate. Or maybe the president needs to be talking to congressional leaders, and he needs somebody over in India talking about issues that matter to the United States. I just try to be an extra set of hands for the president, because it's a big job. And so long as you've got that trust with the president, I think, he's able to get...
Guys, again, I hope you appreciate this, but I love this, because the stuff that I see and what I'm hearing, imagine just this. He didn't say he was second in command. He didn't say he was his operations officer. He didn't say anything about, oh, I'm his sidekick. He said he's the chief executive officer, and I'm right there to do what he can't get done. And I'm operating as if I was him. Stuff that he can't get done, I'm going to do that he would be doing. Why? Because he's setting himself up, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Would you like to see Vance be the next president of the United States of America? Because I'm telling you this, he is setting himself up big time.
Me a lot of responsibility, and I just try to, again, do as good of a job as I can for the American people.
News of the day, Elon Musk is leaving. We kind of knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Are you going to miss him?
Yeah, I am going to miss him. Elon's become a very good friend, really over the campaign and certainly over his time in Washington. I mean, he and his kids have come over to our house and had dinner with our kids. So I'm very close to him. I think what he's done is really incredible. People sort of forget that when he came into the U.S. government, we had never had a full-scale effort to actually look at, are we spending the American people's dollars wisely?
Yep.
And he found in a very short period of time over $170 billion of waste, fraud, and abuse. I think there's also an effort by the media to sort of say the Elon era is over. And I think that's actually totally wrong. Now, he has obviously a day job, and he's got to go back to his day job to run his companies. But the Doge effort will continue. Elon will continue to be an important advisor for both me and the president. And most importantly, the job of making the government more efficient, of not wasting people's money, that has to continue. I think it's one of the most important mandates that we got from the American people. We're going to keep on executing on that mandate.
As you know, he said, I think on CBS, that he was a little bit disappointed in the big, beautiful bill. Sure. He said it increases the deficit, doesn't decrease. So, is he leaving? Not under a cloud, obviously, but he seems a little bit disappointed.
No, I don't think so. I think what I would say, that you'd have to ask Elon, but my sense of Elon is, look, he's a private sector guy, and sometimes the government just doesn't go as fast as private sector guys want it to. I've certainly experienced that frustration. I know the president's experienced that frustration. But I think we've done more in the past 4 months than any administration in American history. And when it comes to cutting spending, you heard the speaker, I think, say yesterday that they're going to start voting on some of the Doge rescission packages. It's going to be, candidly, a harder go in the Senate, because the Senate, you need 60 votes, and we only have 53 Republican senators. So, look, I think Elon's entitled to have his opinions about the function of government. I still think the big, beautiful bill is the way to go. I think it's good for the American people. And I think that...
Guys, does this guy know how to talk or what? Because I want to show you this, guys. This is one of the biggest news ever. So the no tax on Social Security for our seniors was not in the big, beautiful bill. But guess what? Trump just came out and said it's going to be in the big, beautiful bill, one way or another. Promises made, promises kept. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. Let's go, guys. Lifting up America and truly helping out the working class. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, guys, I want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, to all of our subscribers, all of our viewers. We can't thank you enough for your support. I want to say thank you to everybody who is watching. And if you're not subscribed, please consider joining our family here at TrueLife News. We want to serve you every day with the top news, bring you the breaking news every single day. There's so much happening, so much out there, and we want to give you the best show every day that you can look forward to and know you're going to be taken care of with the breaking news. And I want to say thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation that is a member. Remember, we use this money and we give on the 22nd of every single month live on stream, guys. We have given thus far over $36,000 live on stream through this channel, guys. And look, we're about to hit 200,000 subscribers. We're growing. We are doing more. We're not like these other channels. We want to be different, and we want to get to a point where once we hit 1 million subscribers and more, and that we are literally giving $1 million, not $1 million, but $100,000 a month in our giving through your support. Why? Because we want to be the change to bring positive change for good for those that are innocent, those that can't help themselves. We want to be there, especially for like orphans, children's homes, guys, homeless veterans, things like that. We want to be their help. And I want to say thank you to everybody that is helping us to continue to grow that endeavor. And I want to give some love to those that have given today. Larry Pickett, thank you so much for the super chat. Tracy Gardner, Deanna Rankin, Teresa Madden, Albert Rodriguez, Layla McAnally, Lay Lewis. What's new for gifting 10 TrueLife News memberships? Fred Samuel, Scott Charles, Patrick Trebet. Guys, we are going forward. Trump is going to use more emergency powers, executive powers, to make something happen for America. Jeanette Peterson, thank you so much for the super chat. I love it. Y'all show Jeanette some love in the chat. Guys, y'all are so amazing. Thank you so much for liking our videos, sharing our videos. We love you, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.